Strap yourself in. The British Touring Car Championship is back. What a day for the new Honda Civic Type R. It's going to be a Honda victory, but only just. Gordon Shedden wins. Matt NEAL wins round 3 of the championship, but only just.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm elated.
Good getaway by Turkington. Colin TURKINGTON wins round 5 of the championship.
We've really grafted hard through the winter, and this is the fruits of our labour.
There's a bit of bumping, and Josh Cook's off, and Aaron Smith is off as well. Cars are going to scatter everywhere. Smith hanging on to a real moment. Matt NEAL gets all crossed up. Jordan is sideways. What a race! Matt NEAL is just going to hang on in there. Look at Shedden round the outside to grab the lead, and Matt NEAL up the inside. Gordon Shedden wins round 7.
Another 1-2 for this new Civic Type R is just unbelievable.
PLATO blast away from pole.
Congratulations, Jason. A brilliant drive by PLATO to take the win by a fraction of a second as they cross the line.
I love this place. We've just got the car where we want it.
Prio for the lead at Tower. And Prio scores his first victory on his return to the Btcc. Sam TORDOFF who leads the way. Sam TORDOFF wins round 14.
Set myself out, the highest standard. I want to be touring car champion.
No, surely not. Surely not. Wow.
Rob Collard for a second win of the season. Gordon Shedden leaves here 10 points to the good. What a great first half to the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship season we've had. What a great weekend here at Snetterton. Btcc Extra this week comes from Norfolk, where we've had 2 tremendous races. Races 1 and 2 won by Colin TURKINGTON, and a very lively third race, all of which, Paul O'Neill, have really affected the championship. Jason PLATO came here 10 points back. He leaves with a nice, healthy championship lead, and not many people really would have predicted that, nor a lousy day for Gordon Shedden.
Probably one of the worst days I've ever seen for Gordon Shedden, except for him catching fire in qualifying, I think in 2012. But he went on to win the championship that year, so you can't count him out just yet. But back to Jason, he's done like a sterling job, a proper Colin TURKINGTON-esque person he was today. Got all the points and he's come away looking pretty.
In a sense, you kind of think it wasn't that good a day because he didn't win a race, but what he has done is take the championship lead and build a lead. That collectively makes it a good day at the office.
Definitely, and I think obviously the new rules with the more weight and all the other variables we've got help, and somebody like Jason with that much experience, that's how people like him get to the front of the queue really, and he did show his class today. Jason PLATO maybe 8 years ago or 7 years ago wouldn't have done that well, I don't think. I think he'd have maybe put his nose in a few places where it wasn't welcome, but he looks like he's on top of it.
Now, we've also, of course, over this weekend seen Colin TURKINGTON do what Jason did at Alton Park, 75 kilos on board and take 2 race wins. It was mightily impressive from Jason in Cheshire, and Colin has done just as impressive a job here. Bit of a surprise, really, that it's happened once and now twice.
Yeah, definitely, and like we were speaking about at the beginning of the season, to have maximum ballast and do that was amazing from Jason, but for Colin to do it here is absolutely awesome. The thing to take from that, though, is I spoke to Alan Cole, the team manager, and he said to me that Colin found something here on the tyre test a couple of weeks ago, and he is ultra confident, because I said, is it the rear tyres, is it warmer, he's better, but now he's found something. I think Jason's going to be like, oh, so Jason might have to put his elbows out a bit here because Colin's coming.
Other star turns, certainly one of them, Jack Goff. Finally, he's got that first win. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming, but what the great thing for me about that race win was that it was a reverse grid, but all the other guys around him were world class, and he held them off. He won the race in the first half of the race, and then he just cracked on from there. So great stuff from Jack Goff. I thought he was immense today and thoroughly deserved.
And Adam Morgan, for my money in race 2, hanging on to that second place, was perhaps a better drive than winning at Thruxton, because he had some real star names glued to the back of him race long, and it wasn't desperate defensive driving. He wasn't locking up, he wasn't whacking curbs, he wasn't scrabbling around corners. He just drove without error and kept them all queued up behind him. I thought that was a great job.
He didn't look like someone who just won a reverse grid race at Thruxton this year, and obviously a race win that he inherited from PLATO getting through out at Brands Hatch last year. He looked like he'd been race winning for years and years and years, and I thought he was absolutely on the button, and I think his season again will get stronger. But from the comms box, what did you really think about how he looked through the race?
Like a veteran. The mistakes have gone. Go back to that crashaholic Adam Morgan of the first year. It's gone, you know, and he's matured and he's grown up and he's got that psychological boost now. He knows he can win races. He knows he can live with the really star drivers, and he was proving that again through the race. So, yeah, for my money, that was a really good job done by Adam Morgan. And of course, also at Snetterton over the weekend, Paul and Tim Harvey and I did our annual half-term report. We had a look at the top 10 drivers in the championship and tried to come up with a word or phrase that best described their season so far. Time for us now to have a look back at the first half of the British Touring Car Championship season and assess how the drivers have done. I'm going to ask for one word or phrase out of Tim and Paul to describe each of the drivers in the top 10. Then we'll have a bit more of an explanation about why you've come up with that. Tim, let's start with Gordon Shedden, championship leader, 2 race wins. Sum up his first half of the year.
Controlled aggression.
Okay, I like the phrase. Why?
Gordon has all facets of being a touring car driver. He's managed to achieve 7 podiums, the most out of the top drivers, but crucially he's only got 2 single-digit point scores, and that's what's put him to the top of the table. But he's a brilliant overtaker, brilliant qualifier. I love to see him race.
Paul, in contrast, Jason PLATO, most wins of anybody, 4. What about his season?
For me, he's a leader. He's gone in there, he's took some of the people from PRIAULX where he did really well back in the day. He's got that team to the front on its own merits, so they're not reverse grid winners anymore. They're at the front most times. He's not far off the lead of the championship, and he's doing a cracking job. For me, a leader.
And also, I would like to add that Jason never complains about a bad car. He will drag a result out of it, sort of Alonso style, if you like. He always gets points.
Matt NEAL, 3rd in the championship, triple champion, and he's come alive again, hasn't he? He's a much better Matt NEAL than last year.
Yeah, underestimate him at your peril is my phrase to sum up Matt, because given a sniff of a win, he will always find that magic ingredient, and he's that consistent sort of driver that given a chance to win will win. If he can't, he takes the best points, but he's right there in the mix this year.
Sam TORDOFF, Paul, is creeping into the picture, isn't he? He's somebody else to underestimate at your peril.
Surprising, I think, for me. He's been started off pretty steady, you know, probably behind Rob and Andy at the start of the year, but now right on it. And his pace, the last couple of rounds, has been unbelievable.
In the championship, Sam TORDOFF ahead of the reigning champion, Colin TURKINGTON, who's made that switch to a front-wheel drive car. Should we have expected more? What's the one word to sum up his season?
Class act. He's still a class act. But I think we expected a lot of him, but I just think there's something missing in his mojo. Something is not quite firing on all cylinders. But I thought after Donington he was on a roll, but it's still not quite there with him. But I think he'll be right there for big point scores in the second half of the year.
Then, Paul, we get to Andrew Jordan, who is the first driver we've come to that's not yet had a win, and it's over 12 months since his last victory. We know Andrew can drive, but something hasn't really gelled this year. What's the one word to describe his year?
I think it's drought, isn't it? You know, he's not won since Croft last year. It looks like a bit of a struggle, but still the points added up for him, and it was only because he had a bit of a bad round at Croft with contact with Rob Austin that he wasn't in the top half of the championship, really, in the top 4. So he'll be there still, I think, but it just the car. I think it's the car.
Then we get to the Mercedes A-Class of Adam Morgan that's been there or thereabouts, but had that great win at Thruxton. Sum up his season.
Future star. I really think he's a brilliant driver. Funnily enough, he's sort of taken over the role that Andy Jordan had in a small family-run team, great relationship with his engineer, Paul Ridgway, very experienced, very calm, talks him through every process of the race weekend. He's become a great little confident racer.
Rob Collard is next. We know that Rob is a fiery racer. He gets stuck in, he makes great starts, he races hard. Doesn't seem to qualify that well.
No, and that's what I've got him down as, racer. His qualifying is horrific, and he won't mind us saying that. But my word, does he race well? He gets off the line, he does the job. His other teammates have both had pole positions. He's not really been right up the front in qualifying, but still, you've got to give it that guy. He's still in with a shout, but he's starting to drift away a bit now. And if he has one more good result, I'm sure he'll be right up there.
I'll tell you what, the word I had for him was enigmatic, because you know the championship will be a lot poorer without the likes of Rob Collard. He's provided us with some fantastic races.
And of course he's joined at BMW this year by Andy Priaulx with his great CV, but the season perhaps hasn't quite clicked as people might have expected or he would have hoped. How do you rate his year?
Still world class. He's coming back to the championship, learning how to race, learning this year's ballast and tyre regulations, and it's taken him a little while, but I think he's right back on form. 51 points at the last race, the best haul of anybody, a fantastic driver, and going to be great to watch the second half of the year.
And then, Paul, to round out the top 10, we get to Jack Goff. Great start to the season, but he's only had that one podium. More, I think, was expected. How do you sum up his season thus far?
I put average. I think it's such a shame because he's a fantastic racer. He's a few points off Andrew, but I just think the car is hindering both of the guys. You know, this will be the first year that Triple Eight have not won a race. That speaks for itself.
You're cruel. You were never even that good. And I mean, you've got to say, Jack has compared very favourably to Andy Jordan. Certainly on pace. He's had some bad luck in the races, but he's right there on pace with Andy Jordan. So I think, yeah, the car might have let him down, but I think his performances have been very good.
We'll see at the end of the season. I mean, as I say, it speaks for itself. He's quick enough, but points, you know, speak for themselves, and he's not really been there.
So much for the expert view then, hey? Paul O'Neill reckons Jack Goff has been average for the first half of the season. Well, that's a bit mean. Here we are, end of the day at Snetterton, and you sit here as a British Touring Car Championship race winner for the first time. How do you feel?
I thought he was my mate to start with, you know, so I'll take that comment back straight away. Maybe it was the kick up the backside that I needed. We've come here, we didn't do the tyre test in mid-season, in the mid-season break, but we've come along and by race 3 we've nailed the car setup. That's probably the best the car's been. And like I say, it's just nice to get that monkey off my back. We've now got our first win under our belt and we can move forward from here.
It's been a long time coming. It's you developing as a driver, but also I suppose getting used to a new team, new car, new environment, new working ways, all of these different things.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we didn't have the budget pre-season to go and do loads of testing over the winter. You know, compared to a lot of other teams out there who have a lot more experience than me anyway to start with, we did 2 days testing. Some of them did 15, 20 days testing. So we was on the back foot to start with, but you know, slowly but surely we're chipping away. I've learnt the car a bit better now. I'm learning how the car works, and you know, we're pushing it forward and up the grid, hopefully for some more wins as the year goes on.
You talk about the problems of not having a budget pre-season. I mean, your car, and we talked about it during the race commentary, you can barely tell the shape of it under all the stickers. I mean, you work so hard to get all these deals together. It must be a full-time job in itself, trying to keep everybody happy, trying to do the deals to be on the grid.
I've asked Alan Gow if we can have a trailer for next round, but apparently we can't. Knuckles a bit small as it is, so we're running as it is for the next one. It's not me, you know, part of it's me, a small part. I drive the car, but I've got a bunch of guys behind the scenes who do absolutely so much work, free of charge. You know, give up their weekends, give up their time in the week after work hours to go out there and help me find money to get the car on the grid. Obviously, we've got MG's back in this year as well, which is it's a great boost for us guys and the team. But I say a massive thank you to all the guys who make it possible behind the scenes.
What's it like working with Andrew Jordan? Because both of you have had, in a sense, a tough start to the year. Perhaps the results hadn't come as you might have expected. Are you two separate drivers within the team, or are you very much working together for that aim of pushing the cars forward and being at the front of the grid?
Me and Andy get on really well, actually, so that's a bonus straight away. Our main aim is to make the car as fast as possible. From the outside looking in, people keep saying, you know, JP won loads of races last year. You're in a race-winning car. If you look back at the lap times, we're going as fast, if not faster than Jason at some tracks now. So we have pushed the car on, but I think the other teams out there, the VW, the Honda, even the BMW, they've pushed it on a little bit more than we have. So we've still got our work cut out. Like I say, we didn't do much pre-season testing, and we're now slowly but surely getting our heads around this car, and hopefully the second half of the year can be a springboard to moving up the ladder. There's
a theory that once you've had your first win, the next one comes pretty easily. Now you've had this breakthrough victory, hopes must be high, confidence must be up.
I'd love another race now. Let's go back out and have another go. Could we do 4 rounds at Snet? You know, I've always gone quite well at Snet, and I've been on pole, I think, every time in the Clear Cup Championship. And the car's obviously quick around here as well. It's been proven in the past of Jason and Sam as well. Knockhill has never been quite so kind to the MG, but we have made some big improvements to the car, and some of the bogies to the car from last year we have ironed out. Obviously the soft tyres, which we used in the last race, and the drop-off wasn't as bad as we expected. So hopefully we've cured the curse of Knockhill, and we can go there and get a few more wins for the team, and obviously my sponsors as well.
Race 2 was particularly manic, certainly the first few corners of the first few laps, and if you add it all together with how much damage there was and how much of an effect it all had on the championship outcome potentially, those first few laps this week have made it into Crash of the Week. Matt Jackson at the start of the race, he's up past Jeff Smith, Martin Depper ahead. Down towards Riches, round the outside comes Mike Bushell in the red and black Ford look. Whoops, contact, so Bushell gets sideways and then clatters into Depper. That's why Depper pitted.
Oh.
Jackson's up the inside.
Has anyone ever played the Toker arcade game? Because that's exactly what it looks like.
The
There's contact lower down the order. Barry Horn is off and Collard is off as well, and Stuart Lyons is off. 3 cars have left the road at Riches, and I think Collard has come off worse once more. Shedden is off. Shedden is off. The man that's second in the championship has gone around. Gordon Shedden, he's off the road now. Can he get back on? How much damage is there? He's going to fall right to the back of the pack. Big spin for Dave Newsham then.
And damage to the rear as well.
Yeah, he's going to get back on track, but the suspension is damaged, and so the PRIAULX car in trouble, and Gordon Shedden is still trying to get back to the pit lane with a puncture, with broken suspension, and now off the road has gone Aaron Smith. Gordon Shedden, very frustrated. Matt Neal, very frustrated.
A great weekend for Team BMR. The first race, a 1-2-3 finish, the first in the team's history, and then a second win for Colin TURKINGTON later on in the day. Maybe one of the demon tweaks the team has now got is this paddock swimming pool. Louise Goodman found Jason PLATO in a state of undress.
I have to say, this is the most unusual debrief I've ever seen in both senses of the word.
Do you know, this is the future. Because it just takes all your core temperature away. And I can't believe we've been doing touring cars since 97. We never thought of this, or Carlos thought of it.
It takes the brains of an engineer to think of something like this.
It does, and it's brilliant. It's just, after race 1, after being here for 15 minutes, I felt brand new. And right now I feel like I want to fight with someone, actually. I'm revving to go. It's good.
This was your idea, was it?
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things that can get him firing on top form a bit quicker between races. It's just performance.
And you got all the information you need from him then?
Yeah, better information than normal, actually.
We're doing our debrief from a paddling pool. It's fantastic. I just want some ducks and a pina colada. I'll be right happy.
That I can't help you with.
Somebody making a very welcome return to the British Touring Car Championship this weekend. James Cole driving for Motorbase Performance, and not only that, but James also took his best ever finish in a round of the Btcc. Paul O'Neill, fellow Scouser, caught up with him at the end of the day.
James Cole, great weekend, fella. Come back, haven't been back since Brands Hatch last round. Good effort. P11, best result?
Best result. Yeah, it's a fantastic start to hopefully a new career at Motorbase. So yeah, the fantastic end to a difficult weekend, to be honest.
Just talk me through the races then. I know you've had a bit of a battle with quite a few people, but by the end of the day, you were pretty much on Matt Jackson's pace, who I regard as one of the best in the championship.
Yeah, obviously as the weekend's gone on, we've just been progressing. FP1, FP2 qualifying weren't the best for either of us, and as the weekend has gone on, we've got quicker and quicker and quicker. And yeah, if it wasn't for a few issues in race 3, we would have been right up there.
Was it difficult coming into the championship because you've had to run 45, 46 kilos of ballast? Because you've probably been running in testing with a bit of ballast, but not that much. That's a difficult thing, isn't it, to have to switch back onto race mode, I suppose?
It does. I didn't realise how much the ballast made such a difference. It just feels, it sounds stupid, but the car does just feel heavy. I dread to think what it could be like with 70 odd kilos in, but if we've got that problem to worry about, then that'll be great. But yeah, it does make a difference, and we're looking forward to getting it out, to be honest.
Do you think you'll be here for the rest of the season? Is that are you still working hard at it, or is it a done deal?
From what I've heard, it's done, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be here at Brands, which is great. So
absolutely perfect, isn't it? So, you know, you're looking ahead. What do you expect now? Now you've got the races under your belt, had your best finish, because let's not be disrespectful to the other teams you've driven for, but they weren't the best cars, were they?
Sad, you know, they weren't. The issue I had with the fast 2 teams is they were first-year entries themselves, and first year for any team, and as a driver, is difficult, and you're always going to have teething problems. But what this isn't here. This isn't a new team. These have been established for ages, and the best, you know, one of the best parts is having Matt as a teammate. He's a fantastic driver, and he's a fantastic person to learn off. And it's brought me along massively, and it's helped me with my understanding of a car and understanding of feedback, and yeah, from a pace perspective as well, it's brought me on massively.
And with Matt then, where did you find that he was so much quicker in, you know, early on in the practices and the quali? Where did you learn from him, especially around this circuit? Is it the brakes? Is it the fast stuff? Is it everything?
It's confidence on cold tyres, to be honest, and it's getting the heat into the rear tyres. That's the difficult thing to do. And it's like everything, the harder you push early on, the more heat you generate, which helps you later on in the run. But yeah, it's a confidence thing with the car, and Matt's been driving this car since it first came out, where this is day 4 for me.
That is a big point in it. But moving on to the team then, they're great guys, aren't they? Dave Bartram's a good guy, his wife Barbara, they're real good people. They've got a team full of great guys. They're working hard for you now, mate, putting everything away. How can you sum them up? Are they Are they really that good? I think they're great.
They're just a happy bunch of people, and when you're around that sort of positivity, it just brings you on, and the happier you are as a driver, it shows in your driving. And yeah, it's brought me along massively, and I'm very, very happy to be here.
Do you have to? Do they have to use subtitles to understand your Scouse lingo?
No, I go posh for them.
Good lad. Well, listen, we'll see you at the next one, and well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
So the second half of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship season is well and truly alive. Jason PLATO leaves Snetterton as the championship leader. Colin TURKINGTON is very much back in the hunt as he looks to try and make back-to-back title successes. And Gordon SHEDDEN has had a miserable weekend, hasn't he, here at Snetterton, and he goes to Knockhill the next round on his own home soil with a huge amount of points to claw back.
I don't think anything else could have gone wrong for Gordon SHEDDEN today. He's been walloped by his teammate. He's had all sorts of technical dramas, but I think he can come back. He's had it before, 2012, car caught fire, had a load of other dramas, and he really did get back on track and win the championship, so don't discount him. He will be there.
What do we expect in terms of Knockhill-friendly cars? I mean, Jason PLATO said at the end of the third race he thought the Volkswagens would be good around there. The BMWs traditionally go well around there. Honda normally does quite well up in Scotland. So can we read anything into it on previous form?
Yeah, definitely. BMWs will be right at the front, followed by Hondas. Then the BMR cars, the CCs will be there. The MGs won't be.
Right.
I really don't think the MGs have ever had a good weekend there. They've had all sorts of dramas and the car just doesn't seem to suit that circuit. So I think you're going to be looking at cars with traction, obviously the BMWs, but the CCs look epic, don't they, to be fair. I can't think of anywhere they've been absolutely horrendous.
A quick word heading to Knockhill about Aidan Moffat. We lost him from qualifying and racing this weekend. He had his accident in practice. And of course he desperately wants to be race fit because that's a home race. So fingers crossed he's going to be on the grid.
Yeah, that was a big old rattle that he had. A really, really big accident. I mean, when you get rattled around the head like that, it's horrendous. You've seen what happened to Jordan the year before, and it really, really put him back in his stride. But I think he'll be back. He's got enough time to really get fit. But, you know, that's not my call, but I'm sure he'll be fine.
If you were in a championship battle, do you go into these races thinking you need to win, or are you thinking about points and banking them for the championship? And therefore, what mindset will the likes of a Turkington and a PLATO and a SHEDDEN take to Knockhill? Wins or points?
Okay, so obviously I've never been close to winning a championship.
I know this is hypothetical, yeah.
I finished fourth once. Right, for me, I've been in battles with teammates who are battling for the championship, like Van Muller, James Thompson. What they've tended to do is get the first 7 weekends out the way and then go, right, let's have it, and then they go arms out. So that's what you'll probably see from the guys. That's why you're seeing Jason so wily and not getting into any contact with anyone. That'll come for all those guys in the top 4, I reckon.
So Knockhill is the next stop for the British Touring Car Championship. Qualifying on Saturday the 22nd of August on ITV.com. A full day of racing on the Sunday. It's going to be all action. We'll head to Scotland in a couple of weeks' time and we'll see you there.
So baby, if you want